Hi, my name is Courtney. I live here in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I came to Roots and Harmony to see Dr. Wakeham, and I believe it was October 2017. I walked in to my initial appointment with Dr. Wakeham about 15 to 20 minutes late. He luckily made an exception and still saw me that day, but told me that that was quite an exception he was making, and I told him thank you and just started bawling. I have been struggling with depression and, unbeknownst to me, anxiety, and also unbeknownst to me, a binge eating disorder. So I worked with Dr. Wakeham, and he gave me a genetic test that kind of determined which medications were better for my genetic makeup than others. And it came back, it turns out that the medication that I had been taking was on the no list. So once we got that medication taken care of, he kind of moved on and assessed other areas of my mental health. And I had told him that at the time I was kind of looking for a new psychologist to work with, a new therapist to work with. And he referred me to, I call her Dr. Heather. So I met with Dr. Heather, and she kind of focused on the emotional part of my mental health. And I explained to her how genuinely unhappy I was. I hated myself, and I don't use that word lightly. Hated myself. I hated the way I looked. I hated what I ate. I hated the way I looked because of what I ate. I couldn't stand to look in the mirror. I didn't really want to go out with anybody because I didn't feel like I looked as good as the other people. There would be days when I thought I was having a good day, and I would see someone who was a couple sizes smaller than me, and I would just cycle back down the path of just ripping myself to shreds. So I worked with Dr. Heather on self-image, and I also started to work with her about eating and eating mindfully. So what I didn't realize that I was doing, I was eating because I was bored. I was eating because I was sad. I was eating in secret so that no one would notice that I was eating. I had my daughter in 2011, and I, at the time, was working retail. So I was on my feet all day, and I kind of bounced back after having her and kind of lost the weight and was back to a decent weight. I had my son in 2013, and I was working at an office job. And anyone who works in an office knows that not only do most people sit all day, but there's also donuts on Fridays, or it's Susie's birthday, so we have cake and cupcakes and cookies and all kinds of snacks that you can imagine. And I just didn't know how to turn that piece off. It was there, so I was gonna eat it. I went through phases where I would tell myself, all right, that's it. You're not gonna have any more chocolate. None. I would last for maybe a day and a half. And then I would see chocolate or a cookie or what have you. And instead of having one, I would eat a whole bunch at one time and binge on it and then feel guilty and awful. So I worked with Dr. Heather getting the eating part under control. And she had me go through a type of therapy where I had to write down every single thing I ate every day for at least a week. It may have been 2 weeks. And I stuck to it, as tedious as it was. And it was if I was washing blueberries for dinner and I snuck 3 before I put the rest of the bowl on the table, I put down 3 blueberries. If I had a piece of gum after I ate my lunch, put down a piece of gum. So it really made me cognizant of, oh, you thought you ate 1 cookie. Well, no, you definitely had 3. So I was cheating myself at the same time, kind of mentally as well as physically. So I worked with her on that, and she got me to recognize what mindful eating was. And I had heard the term, but never really focused on it or read anything about it. And it pretty much taught me to only eat when you are not doing anything else. So I was always guilty of grabbing one of my favorite snacks when I was pregnant was pretzels mixed with peanut butter and Nutella. So I was very guilty of sitting down watching Netflix with my pretzels, peanut butter, and Nutella. So then I stopped eating while we were watching TV. Or I would eat at my desk a lot at work. So I stopped eating at my desk because I would work and eat at the same time and not realize that I was grabbing other things in addition to whatever I had brought for lunch. So I was losing a little bit, and I was weighing in with Dr. Heather every time I saw her. And I was also working out at a gym, but I just wasn't losing the weight as fast as I think that I could have. One note is that after I had my son, from working in the office and just being lethargic and not motivated to move, not motivated to stop, eating junk and whatnot, I ended up weighing more than when I was pregnant with him. And it got to the point where I thought, okay, this has got to stop. We have to get some control in here. So when I was working with Heather on mindful eating, I was also at a gym and working out at a gym for a little bit, but I wasn't really happy with the results. I wasn't losing weight as quickly as I thought I was capable of losing it. I didn't want to lose 20 pounds in a week, but I just wanted to start to see change a little bit faster than what I was. So I talked to her and Dr. Wakeham if they knew anyone who was a nutritionist or someone in that field, if they could help me out or, direct me to somebody, refer me to somebody. So Dr. Wakeham actually said, he said, I have a lady that I know, and if there was anyone that I would want to tell me what to eat, it would be her. I said, okay, done. So I called Carly, who's the owner-operator of Symmetry Fitness, and set up a consultation. And that first initial phone call was probably a solid 45 minutes. And she didn't just want to know, what's your availability like next week? All right, see you Tuesday at 6. It was, what struggles are you having? Well, I have a problem with eating. Well, okay, what kind? Do you eat too much? Do you eat too little? Do you exercise at all? What's your mental health state? Have you, what medications are you on? She wanted to know essentially the entire patient background versus just, yeah, sure, come in, we'll figure it out. I came in for the consultation after I talked to her and felt very comfortable with her after talking to her on the phone. And I was honestly fairly intimidated when I walked in at first because she's this very tall, slender, pretty young woman. And here I am with this awful self-image and weighing the most that I've ever weighed in my life. She took my measurements, which I was thoroughly embarrassed and guilty. But she took those and she weighed me, and we talked about what I ate on a daily basis, and now I know because I had been writing it down for Dr. Heather. And we went through it, and she said, well, I'm hearing a lot of carbs. And I thought, I don't even eat bread or pasta usually. I eat salads and Greek yogurt. And she said, well, look at the carbs in your yogurt. And so she kind of explained, yeah, I'd read food labels before, but I hadn't really concentrated on how much this part of the food would affect this part of my body and whatnot. So I kind of had a lesson in food labels again and nutrition. And she set me up with an app that she set up my macros, which is how much of my diet contained carbs, how much contained protein, and then how much contained fat. And we put that into the app, and I picked a couple favorite things I liked and hit go. And it gave me an entire week's worth of food and a shopping list and measurements for everything. And it was a little tedious at first to make the time to think ahead and plan out for the entire week, knowing, okay, if my grocery day is Sunday, I have to get 4 pounds of chicken, what have you, instead of, it's Tuesday, I don't have dinner plans, how's this fast food place? So not only did she teach me, and still now currently is teaching me what to eat and how to eat, but she also has made me, along with Dr. Wakeham and Dr. Heather, more mindful of eating, which I think is one of the biggest shows of progress so far, is that there can be donuts in the break room at work and I walk past them now. I might think about getting one, but I try to stop and think, why do you want a donut right now? If you had not seen those in the break room, would you actually get up and go try to find a donut? No, you just want them because you're there. So it's kind of a complete reversal. When working with Dr. Wakeham and Dr. Heather and Carly, I had gone through TMS treatment for depression. In doing so, I kept thinking, is it working? Is it working? I'm having a bad day. Is that normal bad day or is that depressed bad day? I'm not sure if it's working, but eventually realized that that was working, and working with Carly has also proven that it's working. My entire outlook has changed. I used to be upset every day and not want to do anything or go anywhere because I couldn't stand how I looked. And now I am happy, genuinely happy, not pretend happy because that's what you're supposed to be, but genuinely happy. I can run with my kids on the baseball field or the soccer field and not be stuck at the goal line and they're halfway down the field because mommy isn't healthy enough to come catch you. Carly, I will say, keeps me going. Even on days when I don't physically train with her, I still hear her in my head. Her voice, kind of guiding choices that I make, mental decisions that I would make. So I just wanted to say thank you to all three of you guys for getting me to where I am now.